What is up, everybody? I am Ryan Rhodes with Reformation Designs, and today I am here with Mary B, who is an amazing singer, songwriter, and friend of mine that I met through a mastermind group that I'm in called the Creators Portal. And today we're going to be talking about all things creativity and music and figuring out how to go pro with your career. Sarah Berkey says, "Sup." How's it going, Sarah? It's really weird. I keep seeing, Sarah Berkey has liked your comments, or Sarah Berkey has shown up, and I'm like, who is Sarah Berkey? Oh, that's right, Sarah got married. So congratulations to my friend Sarah Berkey and her husband. They just got married. So Mary, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit and talk about who you are, what you do, and what we're going to talk about today.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for having me on this. This is like so much fun. And this is, I have to tell you, this is the coolest live set I've ever seen. And I'm in awe. I bow down. So thank you so much for having me. My name's Mary B. I'm a singer. I'm from New England. I grew up in Massachusetts and Rhode Island, and now I live in Los Angeles. And been out here for about 6.5 years. I'm always touring and recording, but I'm also just starting a web series that I'm going to be shooting in Europe this fall. And I just put out a pilot episode that we shot in New England. And I'm just working on, getting ready for Europe and getting ready to shoot the whole series. And yeah, that's my spiel.
Very cool. So you said that actually my audio sounds a little bad. How about you guys watching? Can you let me know if the audio sounds good? Just let us know. I can see your comments. Rico says he's near Boston. Tom Fox says Mary B, woohoo.
Hi, Tom.
So
I can see the comments. Okay, cool.
Oh, you can?
Yeah. Awesome.
Okay, great. For those of you who haven't figured it out yet, all of this stuff is always in development. We're always trying to figure out new and innovative, fun ways to share new content and connect you guys with people. If you notice any audio issues or tech issues, please let us know, because we're doing this live. So that's always fun. So. Sarah said there's a little feedback from your side of things, so I don't know if that's
okay.
I mean, I can probably mute my microphone if I need to, but
yeah,
okay.
I didn't think of that. I could run in and grab my headphones if that helps. There's a train.
Yeah, that would probably help, especially with the train there. So,
cool. All right. Well, I'll be right back.
Mary will be right back after these messages, and while she's gone, make sure to check out. Well, it cuts off my finger there. Check out marybeofficial.com. That is where Mary posts all her music, and you can see what she's up to with her tour and all that kind of stuff. So for those of you who didn't see Branding 101, I recently did a webinar like this with my friend Nathan Landis-Funk. He is an actor, singer, songwriter, and in Branding 101, we talked about basically as artists, you kind of get to that point where you're like, okay, I really want to make some headway with my creative career here, and we talked about the importance of branding and having a web presence and having your social media presence and all of that stuff set up in a way that it's easy for people to connect with you and connect with your music, because more than ever, it's pretty much you have a supercomputer in your pocket and you can learn to connect with people and figure out ways to get your art out there and get your music and stuff out there, and even just start a business and things of that sort, where you can learn how to make a living doing what you love. That's what we're here for. That's why we do these videos, and that's why I love having people like Mary on here, and people like Nathan, because they're doing it, and more than ever, we have these opportunities, so why not take them? And so next week I'm planning on doing Branding 103 with my friend Jenna. She has an Amazon and an Etsy store, and she also has her own website, and she's been actually making a pretty decent living making and selling her own jewelry. So we're going to be talking about that on the next show. So anyway, that's a little bit of an intro here, and so we're gonna get right into this and talk about Mary, I have a few questions I'd love to hear your thoughts on, if that's okay.
Cool. Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
Is this a little bit better on my sound end? Is that, let me know in comments if it
Yeah,
is. I
I,
hope
th-
so.
I think so.
Okay,
Part of
cool.
it's my microphone's like right near my speaker. So if you
No,
guys
it's
didn't
not.
know,
It's right there.
this microphone's not real. If you can't, I'm using this as a visual cue because my webcam cuts off here. So see. But we can thank our illustrator friend Brett Metcalf for helping out with this set and drawing the microphone and all that fun stuff. So it's been great. So if you guys have any questions for us about what we're up to, what Mary's up to, definitely let us know in the comments. And as we get through the show here, we will address those comments as we're able to.
Cool.
So Brent said, "No way, that's not real." Yeah, man, I know it's crazy. So, Mary, I've got a couple questions here written
Sure.
down that I had basically said, let's see. Okay, if you could start your music career over with what you know now about running it like a business / your own brand, what would you do differently and why?
I would stop caring what people thought of me. And it's funny because I never actually considered myself a person that cared what people thought. Like even in high school, like I remember being like, who cares? But I realized that like some of the music I made, like even, 8 years ago, it was really dampened by like, are they gonna like it? Or is this good enough to release? But if like just in the last couple of years, I've been saying, you know what, I'm just going to make what I really love. I'm going to do home recordings, which I love doing. I play studio recordings, and that's great, but who can afford to do that for every single song that they write or want to cover? I can't. So I've learned to record my own music, and I would have just like told myself like, release what you love, and you're going to find people that love it too, hopefully. And if not, then at least you're making what you love. And I've noticed like a big shift since I've started doing that, and just been being like, I enjoy doing this. This is what I like to do, and I can really really put my heart completely into it. And so yeah, that's what I would have told myself, is like, stop caring what anyone thinks, just do what you love.
So on that note, though, I mean, there's so many people who, it's like they have ideas, they have skills, they have the ability to make things happen and figure out ways to, actually show and communicate those ideas that they have, whether
Yeah.
it's like a web show they want to do. Someone named Laura Celine has joined. I don't know if you know Laura, um, but Nick Shalavi has joined. Hey guys.
Hi
Um,
guys.
so, you know, nowadays, especially, there's so many people who have the ability, not just inherently with their own creativity and the things that they've learned how to do over the years, but
Mhm.
also technologically, they have the ability to literally connect with just about anybody that they really want to if they put in the work and they put in the time. And so, you saying stop caring what people think and just make what you love and go do it. I've found over the years, especially running our design agency and whatever, it's like there's so many ideas flying around, but people feel like they need permission. It's like
Mhm.
everyone's waiting for permission
Yeah.
instead of
Someone's gonna discover you or something.
right. And it's kind of like this old world mentality of,
Yeah.
oh, if I'm good enough and then a record company notices me, busking on the
Yeah.
corner or something, like I'll be on American Idol and I'll make it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
instead of why don't you do the work, get good enough running it yourself so that you don't need the gatekeepers of yesterday to kind of do your thing.
Totally.
So
Totally.
have you found that like with your stuff? I mean, obviously you've been doing your own music for how long now?
It's like I mean, my first band I was like 15. And then like when I was a kid, I was always singing in, choir or talent shows or something like that. So
Right, right.
I remember putting on shows on the back of my couch when I was like 2. So
Yeah, yeah.
forever. But yeah, I've totally recognized that. And I think what it is now, though, it's not so much that there's gatekeepers, but I think a lot of artists don't really want to learn the business side of things,
Right.
and don't, and I understand that. I'm a weirdo in that I think it's fun. Like I love booking my own tours and making my flyers and,
Right.
and learning how Facebook marketing works. Like it's kind of fun, but for a lot of people, that's not fun. And they just want to make music, and that's, totally fine. But I think the difference is now that we're kind of our own gatekeepers. So if like you really want to put in that work, and you want to learn how it all works. I really did. I worked at the National Association of Record Industry Professionals for 4.5 years when I moved to LA, and it was so like life changing. I was just
How so?
constantly. Well, I basically was in charge of getting members to know each other. So hooking different people up in the music industry up with people that I think would, be really good to get to know each other, and then facilitating panels on music business.
Oh, okay.
So I was
Like
just
on facilitating panels on running your music career like a business, you mean?
um, all different,
Or
all
just all
different
aspects of that world?
aspects of the industry. So
Okay.
everything from music publishing to uh, you know, booking tours, to, how to get on radio, like everything. And seriously, if you're a musician, narip.com, narip.com, a lot of this stuff is streaming too. It's like really, really good information. And I was just surrounded by it for years.
So wait, I'm
And
sorry. Say that again. I'm writing it down so for the show
oh
notes.
yeah, narip.com.
N
Yep,
A.
yeah, narip.com. Um, and we had the best speakers in the music industry that I was just constantly surrounded by, and I'm learning. And on top of that, the woman who ran the business, I got to work with her every day, and she knows how to run a business, and I really, really learned a lot from her. And by doing it like with a good heart. And that's what I really respected about her, is that she was always trying to help people every day. Like her intentions are really, really good. It's not just like, making money. So I find that really fun. And I'd always go to every music business conference I could. I still do. And I just like absorbing everything that I can. But yeah, I guess you just have to like that part of things too. Otherwise, you
Well,
gotta
did
find
you
a good
always like
manager.
it,
Yeah, it's weird.
or
I
did
was
you kind of grow to over time?
No, it's weird. I remember when I was a kid, I was like obsessed with Madonna, and I kept looking for. I would like search the internet to try to find some book about her business skills. I didn't care about who she married. I didn't care about like, what her childhood was or anything like that.
What
I
about
love
what
her
she was
voice.
wearing? Did you care about what she was wearing?
No,
No.
like I mean, I like a good sparkly dress. Like I mean, I'm a pretty girly girl, but like what I really wanted, and I still would love this book, is if she wrote a book, or if like her or Dolly Parton wrote a book about like the business side of their career, I would just drink it up.
Have
Like,
you tried sending them a message on Twitter and just saying that?
no.
You can shoot a little video and just be like,
Can
"Hey,
you please?
you were a huge inspiration. Can you hire a
Yeah.
ghostwriter to just listen to you talk and write a book?"
Right?
'Cause
Right?
that's
That
what they
would
would
be
do
really
anyway.
cool. I just think they're both geniuses, and I think it's a really big art to turn your passion into your career. And like a lot of people, I believe, think there's something dirty about that. Like they think that, if you're trying to make money off of your passion, that there's something, like yucky about that. But for me, it just means you can do more of it. Like if I can, be making as much music as possible, and sharing with the world, like, the one thing that I think I'm, capable of giving, then I don't see that as a bad thing. I see that as, living your life. It's like, I think as the Dalai Lama says, like if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life, kind of situation, So you know, I geek
Well,
out on
well,
this stuff.
well. On that note, that kind of segues nicely into the next question that I had here.
Yeah.
Actually, first of all, Sarah said, "I feel like nobody will buy things that I create." I know that's
I would.
BS. I know that's BS because I know you've sold paintings.
Sarah, you're so amazing. Like I want to buy anything that you make. You're incredibly talented.
And
So
Rico Sutton said, "Isn't branding caring?" I'm not sure I
What do you mean?
completely understand the question, Rico. So if you're still watching, can you clarify what you mean? Um,
Yeah,
so on to the next question I had.
sure.
You already mentioned NARIP,
Mhm.
NARIP. That's basically music industry resources, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's a really great networking and education for music business.
Okay, great. So that segues nicely into my next question, which is what resources or books have you found helpful in bringing your ideas to life and the pursuit of your creative career? Like if you had to start over
Yeah.
and you could go back in time and give yourself like two or three books that fundamentally would like accelerate the process of you getting where you're at now without
Um,
the years of struggle, what
boy.
would that be?
I mean, I can think of my favorite books. I'm trying to think of the ones that made the biggest impact on my career. I really like Napoleon Hill.
Yeah,
Such
yeah.
a weird girl. I
No,
think he's
no,
incredible.
it's dude's
Um,
legit. He's got some really
yeah,
cool stuff.
yeah. And then the old classics like How to Win Friends and Influence People. I think that should be mandatory reading for everybody ever. Um, you know, uh, what Seth Godin. Is that am I saying his last name correctly? Godin, Seth Godin.
Seth Godin.
Godin. Yeah, I really like his stuff. I have a couple of his books, and I get to meet him once at a conference, and he's I
He
um,
fun fact, he usually responds to most emails that you send.
yeah, I
Very
heard
responsive
that.
guy.
So I might shoot him now.
He's a
And
really cool
then
guy.
yeah, yeah. I'm trying to think for other books. I really love geeking out on that stuff, even if it has nothing to do with music. It's like I can apply those principles
Well, yeah.
to everything, and I like that they're all coming from a good like heart-centered place. Like I don't get that like get rich quick kind of vibe from any of those kind of authors, and I can smell that out in a second. I'm like I want to learn from people that like you know are focused on doing good business but treating people really well while you do it, and and just finding a way to make your passion your career and
Well, yeah, and I think that that's at least, especially for obviously my only frame of reference is my own business and my own life. But I've Rico said Seth's podcast is called Akimbo. Yeah, you can go check that out at
awesome.
akimbo.link. He actually just wrapped up, I think, season one of it. Really
Awesome.
good.
I don't know. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, yeah. So it's you can send him in questions
Oh
through his
my gosh.
website, which and he might answer them on future shows and stuff. But
Awesome.
in regards to um, just the general principles thing, I have found over the years also that so much of entrepreneurship at any level, it doesn't matter if you're just getting started or if you've been at it for 10, 20, 30 years, so much of it still boils down to the mindset and the habit and the discipline that you form over time and the things that it's like while everyone else is freaking out about the economy, you're trying to look for opportunities and that's
Yeah.
stuff that can be trained. It's not something that I think just falls out of the sky and hits people in the head. Like it's not like, well, you're just an entrepreneur and you have that personality. And it's like, well,
Hmm.
maybe at some level, but I also know that like back in high school, like I was super shy. I was, the nerdy,
Yeah.
geeky. I mean, I'm still kind of the nerdy kid. I'm talking to you in a cartoon here. Um, but
I'm loving it.
now it's like after years and years of reading books like the ones you mentioned and kind of paying attention to people who are making a living doing what they love or doing what they're passionate about, you
Yeah.
start noticing trends. You start noticing some different mindsets that basically people adopt who go that direction. And I feel like
Hmm.
for a sustainability standpoint, you can't sustain a creative career without those right mindsets.
I think so too. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
excellent.
Full agreement.
Sarah said Kiata just started a podcast called The Bold Standard. She's an incredible influencer. Looking forward to listening.
Oh,
Oh,
awesome. I have to
Kiata
check
just
it
got
out.
tagged. Hey, how's it going? We're hanging out here today. Congrats on your podcast. That's awesome.
That's
If you want to drop
cool.
a link below, Kiata, for anybody who sees this video, feel free to do so. Kiata is someone I also met through the Creators Portal guys. So lots of cool people, lots of creative people doing creative stuff. And so
Yeah.
if you're in a spot where you feel like you're looking for community and things of that sort, definitely keep tuning in, and we'll keep introducing you guys to people you should know about. So
Yeah, for sure.
Tom said, Mary, how do you balance your love of the business side of music with all the time it takes to make music? Do those passions ever get in the way of one another? And if so, how do you deal with it?
Oh yeah, story of my life. I try to break up my day so that in the morning I put my businessy hat on and I book shows and I contact artists for different collaborations and things like that. And then around like 5 or 6, that's when I make the switch over. And then I'm a night owl, so I'll usually stay up until like 2 or 3 in the morning. And that's like, those are my favorite hours actually to create. So that's when I put everything away, like close the emails. I don't, I try not to look at social media, and that's when I just go full into either writing or recording or you know uh, sometimes a live stream, stuff like that. So my brother, he's really smart guy. I hope he gets to watch this. Will Brierly, I remember he gave me really good advice about that actually when I was just starting college, and he's like, like if you really want to do this, you have to like learn how the business side of it works, but you have to kind of keep them as separate hats, because if they're like too overlapped, like you're gonna lose like the magic of like the art. And then if you put too much of like if it's too overlapped, then like you get maybe a little bit too emotional with the business stuff.
That is,
So,
yes, that is
good
excellent,
advice.
excellent, excellent advice for
Yeah.
anyone who is like, hey, I'm really good at art things. Maybe I should do business things. It's like,
Yeah.
you should learn to balance them. That's
Yeah,
all.
totally. Yeah. Wear your different hats.
Yeah. So what time do you have like a morning routine that you do? Like, do you get up at the same time every day? Because I
I
know some
no,
entrepreneurs aren't like that. So
I'm still working on that, because the tricky thing is with most like really business minded people, they're like, I get up at 6 a.m. and that's when I start. And the thing is I would do that like if I were just doing business stuff. But I know when my creativity comes, it's not going to come early in the day. And I used to try to fight that. I used to be like, like all my friends really are super early morning people, like, and they're really doing well, and that's what I should do. But I've tried it so many times, and then by the time that I normally jump into artistic mode, I get so tired. If you wake up at 6 a.m., by 10 o'clock you want to go to bed. But 10 o'clock, that's normally like that's when I'm like
that's
mid
like the
recording
magic
song.
hour. Whenever
Yeah.
suddenly it's like you're not trying anymore. You're just like, I'm an
Yeah.
artist and I'm
Yeah.
artisting.
Totally. You can see the puppy behind me.
Yeah, it
And
kind of looks like he's on
um
your shoulder from here, so it's kind
yeah,
of funny.
it's just like
It's
my
like a little
little
animated
um
GIF file, dancing
yeah.
around.
Totally. But yeah, so I usually wake up like around 9 or 9:30 and have like 6 cups of tea.
What what kind of tea?
I drink green jasmine tea, except today I have a chai with almond milk.
Oh, nice.
Just lovely.
Speaking of critters, here I'm gonna make an appearance real quick. There we go. We'll put this.
Oh, yes! I love these guys.
So
Oh
we'll
my
put that
gosh.
on there. That's he'll blink occasionally.
Oh my gosh.
That's
Love it.
my friend Brent drew that. So critters on the
So
desk.
cute. I love it.
Someone said Naomi Rebecca Swallow says hi. I don't know if you know Naomi.
I do. We went to school together, and she's one of my dearest friends in the world.
Very cool. Um, well, yeah, I the daily routine thing, that's really interesting because lately especially I've been kind of in that zone where I'm like, I know that if I wake up early, no one's going to be calling me. I'm going to be able to stay focused and whatever.
Yeah.
But I also know that if I stay up until, like you said, 2, 3, 4 in the morning,
Mhm.
also no one's going to be bothering me and I can stay
Yeah.
focused on doing all this
What's
other
the
stuff.
difference? And then
So
you schedule all your emails to go out at 6 a.m. so it looks like you're up bright and early.
oh, see, I don't do that. I've actually had clients message me who have been like, "Yeah, you emailed me at like 4:30 in the morning." I'm like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
doesn't look good.
I don't think about that." It's just like I'm kind of a night owl, right?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. There's some good services that'll this boomerang is a pretty good one that you can schedule you.
yeah, so use the technology that's available. If you're a
Yeah.
night owl, own it, and
Hmm.
there's tech solutions that you can use
Yep.
to get around the fact that it'll look like you're up super late. But I mean, even
Exactly.
at the end of the day, though, like I don't know about you. I know you're planning on doing a Europe tour here soon, right?
Yeah, I am. Yep.
So I mean, everyone's in different time zones looking at all this stuff, and so
Yeah.
I that's part of it. Especially when we started our business a number of years ago, we had some clients who were in different time zones, and so I was learning to juggle that for the first time, and it was really
Yeah.
kind of weird. And it got to a point where I'm like, okay, well, I'm just up coding or working on design stuff at this time anyway, so I might as well just shoot off this email and be done with it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until
Yeah.
a few years after that people started just kind of making little funny comments. It's like, wow, you were up like really early. I'm like, oh no, I was up late. Like I didn't go to bed yet. So
Yeah.
um, so Sarah said that's about when she wakes up, 4:30 to 5 a.m. Yeah, see, if I don't wake
Wow.
up at that time, like I'll stay up until that time.
Yeah, yeah. I
I
do the
like
same
watching the sun come up and then go to
thing.
bed for a little bit. And
Yeah,
then,
yeah. But I think it's just, at a certain point, you just have to accept what your body rhythm is. Like, there are so many people that, like, they do the best waking up at 7 every day. But I've just learned to accept that that's not right for me.
so how long? I mean, I know at least the different people that we'll coach and work with a lot who are kind of in that space of like, you know what, I've got an idea. I'm trying to make something happen, and they've like quit their job and they're doing the thing full time. Um, and they struggle with that. They struggle
Yeah.
with kind of finding their own rhythm. And so obviously as a musician, rhythm is a really big part of your life. Like, do you have any suggestions, any tips for people who are dealing with that? I mean, obviously it's like, well, just own it and figure it out. But like, do you have any
Mm.
suggestions for how to figure that out? Like
I,
journaling? Do you journal anything like that?
yeah. Um, I journal sometimes, but usually ends up turning into a song. And for that, like I need to, be alone or like in a cafe where I don't know anybody. I don't I wish if I gave advice, I'd be making it up. I don't, because I think you just gotta follow your own rhythm, like, and just not fight it if you can.
Right.
If you have a part-time job you have to go to, or have certain things that if you have kids or something, obviously you need to be getting them to school and all that stuff. But as much as you can, I would just say, like, try a few different things and see what helps you get the most amount of work done. You know what I mean? If you're waking up at 7 a.m. and you're just too much of a zombie to do anything until 10, then maybe get up at 10 and try that.
Right.
Like,
Well, I mean, it's kind of like the whole 80/20 principle, right? Where it's
yeah,
like where 80 what is it? Like 80% of your results usually comes from 20% of the things that you do. And so
totally.
if you can figure out what that 20% is,
Hmm.
so like for you figuring out, oh, okay, I'll do businessy things until this time, and then this it's like there's this magic window where you kind of like shift in your brain.
Yeah.
um, knowing that, I guarantee that you get more done in like a week than most people can feel like they get done in a very, very long time, just because
Maybe.
you kind of you have that thing nailed down. I think that that's the case. I mean, you wouldn't be touring Europe and doing your web series and all this other stuff. That was
Oh.
true.
But yeah, you just find your own rhythm, I guess, and,
Sure.
and what works for you.
Um, so in terms of the European tour and this web series, talk a
Yeah.
little bit about that. How did that come about? What where are you wanting
Yeah.
to go with it and all of that stuff?
Well, I'm really excited for this tour. It's going to be more focused on shooting the web series. There are going to be a few shows out there, and I'm doing a radio show, and I'm even doing a house show, which is kind of fun. But yeah, the main thing for this um, is that I really want to make this series as nice as I possibly can. So that's my main focus. So right now I'm in talks with a bunch of artists out there, and I still have room for more. So if anybody knows artists in Europe that they think are amazing and nice people, that's the main thing I care about. Good, nice people. I'd love to have them on there. So for anyone watching this that doesn't know what that's all about, is going to believe 6 different countries in Europe: Ireland, Scotland, England, France, Belgium, the Netherlands, and Italy. Okay, so 7. Each country, I'm hooking up with at least one artist to record a web series episode together, where basically we just get to know each other and like gab about music, tell our favorite stories, and the funniest times, the best times, worst times, see where they make music, explore their city a little bit, and then collaborate on a song together. And so the whole idea of the show is like, coming together, like I kind of, been a little bit turbulent lately, and I feel it in my gut. And so this is my little.
I have no idea what you're talking about at all.
So this is you're all gonna watch my own therapy of where I go and come together with people.
You know what we could do? We could do another one where we've got like a reclined couch, and we're all just,
I love that idea. I love that. Yeah. So that's basically what we're doing out there. And then I'm gonna shoot a lot of music videos. Like I still have a music video from Hawaii I still have to put out. But when we went on tour in Hawaii, I shot like 6 music videos. So I want to do the same thing in Europe, and in every country shoot at least 1, hopefully 2 music videos while we're out there, and then play some shows and do a lot of live streaming, go live and show everybody around, and yeah, so I'm excited. Oh yeah, I haven't really announced that yet, but I'll tell you.
Mary, I'm sorry, I turned my mic off for those who
are
that's listening, okay. But you can still hear me.
Yeah.
How long are you gonna be gone, and when are you heading out?
Yeah, I haven't even announced that, but you'll get the exclusive.
Oh well, no, you don't have to. If you
no, it's totally good, totally good. We're gonna leave August 18th, starting in Ireland, and then kind of working our way down, and we're gonna be gone for about 2.5 months.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So is it you and your husband going, or is it?
Yeah, David Ayre is going with me, and he's gonna help. Shooting. He is gonna be the cameraman for the last episode. He's such a love for taking that on. The last episode, we hired a really amazing camera woman. This great girl named Michelle, and then Tony doing lighting. So he didn't have to worry about that. But yeah, for this episode, he's going to be shooting it all for all the rest of the episode.
Well, I mean, you've got like supercomputers in your pocket that you can shoot these and edit them. So don't just scroll on social media, guys. Like, make cool stuff. Like, we can do it.
It's fun.
Awesome. Well, it's about 4:00 now, so we've been on for about half an hour or so. I had booked this until, I booked my calendar until 5. I don't know how long you have, so I want to be respectful of your time.
So whenever, whatever. If anyone has any other questions, or if you do, or
okay, yeah. I do have one last question here that I wrote down to talk about. But if any of you guys who are watching have questions, definitely let us know, and we'll make sure to get to those as we can. So the last question that I had written down was, what would you suggest to those who are on the fence about starting their own business endeavors with their creativity? Like, what kind of action steps would you take for them to figure out if it's actually for them or not? Does that make sense?
I'm sorry. Do you mind reading that again? For some reason your audio cut out for like a half a second.
Oh yeah. The question was, what would you suggest to those who are on the fence about starting their own business endeavors with their creativity. So if they feel like they've got something going,
Yeah.
but they're kind of hesitant, maybe they're afraid of what people are going to think of them, or family, friends, or whatever aren't so supportive, which
Oh,
unfortunately is often the case for a lot of
yeah.
people,
Yeah.
because it is different to be doing this kind of stuff. So
Yeah. And on that, I'm really lucky that like there's a lot of people like me and my family that were, kind of off the beaten path and like doing our creative ventures. So thankfully I had a really supportive family. I have a really supportive family. But I know a lot of people don't, and I know it can be just so super scary. Even with all the support that I have, I still get super scared about this. I'm like, sometimes I look at my life and I'm like, wow, like I'm kind of a really weird person. Like, I don't do the normal stuff. But if it's something you really love to do, just realize like as far as we know, we only get one life. Like that's what I kind of keep reminding myself. And it's a lot shorter than, you realize it's gonna be. Like when you're 12, you think like, oh, life's gonna be like 100 years, it's gonna be so long. But like, I've blinked and there a good chunk of it's already gone by. So it's like, what do you want to have had accomplished, when you're 95 and you're looking back at your life, like, you know, do you want to be doing stuff that you really are not passionate about? Like, maybe you do. Like maybe the real thing that you're actually passionate about is your family and the fun things you all do on weekends, and you're okay with working a job that's not your passion. Like that's 100% respectable. Like there's nothing wrong with that. But if you really feel like that's going to be like a huge regret one day that you didn't pursue your creative endeavors, then like run to start, like do everything you can. And then like, you don't have to like quit your job immediately and um, you know, open an Etsy store and then be like, oh no, I
you
can't do
don't
it. Like,
you don't have
like,
to jump out of a plane with no parachute and build one on the way
yeah.
down. You can do that. It's possible. It's just much more stress inducing.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like set yourself up for success. Like realize it's not going to just happen overnight, but like, you could get a job working for an artist like your friend who's going to be on next week, and like learn how they're doing it. Like, like with me, when I moved to California, my goal was, because you could do music from anywhere, I don't have to be here to do this. I wanted to learn how the business side of things worked, so I got a job learning that I got paid to learn how the music business worked from the experts. Like that, was a really good move. So, if you want to, make candles or something like that, like, get a job or an internship or something with somebody in that field or doing something similar, so you can kind of see how it's modeled successfully, and then you can kind of do it. But and then maybe you could go down to part time at your job and like do a side hustle, like driving for Lyft, or I even walk dogs for WAG, like when I need a little bit of extra cash or I just want to get paid for a walk. I just I walk neighborhood dogs. Why not? I could pay money to go to a gym, but instead I get paid to go for a walk. There's like a million ways that you can make money now that don't have to be a full-time job. So you could always set yourself up like that. I'm not, I don't know everything, but
Well, no,
I'm just,
but that's good
if it's your
information.
trade, yeah, if it's going to be like a deathbed regret,
Right, and I mean, think
started.
we're we're all at a stage for the most part, especially anyone who's watching this. It's like we've been around long enough that we can go like, okay, if I continue this direction indefinitely for the next 20, 30 years, like,
Yeah.
am I going to be happy with where I get? Like, I don't know if have you read Seth Godin's book, The Dip?
No, not yet.
Naomi said she has to go. Much love to you all.
Oh.
Thanks for tuning in, Naomi. Feel free to watch the rest of the replay and send me a friend request if you'd like. But with the Dip, did you say you have read it? I'm sorry.
No, not that one. No.
So that's it's a really short book. I think you can probably read it in like less than an hour. But he talks
Awesome.
about how there's basically like 3 different dips in life whenever you're trying to do something that is worth doing.
Mhm.
Basically, there's the dip that everyone hits whenever it's like, okay, I want to be a pro musician. And so then you spend 5, 10, 15, 20 years like getting good at your craft because
Yeah.
it takes a lot of times that long and intentional focus on a craft to really get good enough at it that you can go
Mhm.
pro. Um,
Yeah.
and so he talks about how anything worth doing has one of those dips. And then there's also the cul-de-sac, which is basically like it's not bad, but it's also not going anywhere. And then there's also like dead ends where it's basically like
Yeah.
if you continue this direction, like it's not going to get better. You know it's not
Yeah.
going to get better. So he talks about how the importance of when to quit, and it's like to know which one of those dips that you're in. It's like, are you frustrated because you're not making money with your creativity now? Is that because you're in the dip that everyone who's actually successful at the pro level goes through, or is it because like your industry's collapsing and it's not going to get better? Like if that's the
Yeah.
case, like if you're working at a fast food restaurant or like working a checkout counter or something, like straight up start looking for a side hustle like now, because
Yeah.
I don't know about you, they're already replacing people with robots at my grocery
I
stores.
know. Yeah. All over the place. Yep.
Yeah.
Can be everywhere.
And
Yep.
so, it's one of those things where you have to start thinking about like that long-term view. Are you going to be regretful of the things that you're building and creating? And if you're happy like working a job that you're content at and your family's taken care of, like good, awesome.
Mhm.
But if you have that itch, like if you
Yeah.
have that thing where you're like, you know what, I feel like I want to do something more, like
Mhm.
start asking people in your network, start looking
Totally.
around and finding people who have done what you've done, and like Mary said, just get involved and see if you can help them out and learn from them,
Yeah.
because people are willing to share how they got where they are.
Yeah. And especially if like you really show that you really want to be there. Because I'll say like um with NARP, take NARP for example. I went to one of their events and I was like, oh my gosh, I found my people. Like this is where I want to be. They weren't hiring. They didn't need anybody, but I just volunteered. I was like, hey, can I come help out? And she was like, okay. And then I just kept coming. I kept coming. I kept coming. And for like 3 months, I volunteered basically like full time. And I like, was eating like beans, you know what I mean? to be able to do that. And uh, then at one point, she just, the owner just looked at me and she was like, "You want to come?" And I was like, "Okay."
No, I like being here, I'll do it for free, but
Yeah.
if you feel like paying me.
Okay. She knew I was really, really struggling, and um, you know, she knew I wanted to be there, and like, I still love it. It's still fantastic. I try to go to them. Going to a networking event this Sunday in LA for them. So, so if you don't think you're like, oh, I could never get a job, mentoring under a candle maker or whatever it is, like just see what time you have free, even if it's like once a week or something, and see if you can go over and just help them out. Just who doesn't want free help?
Right. Well, one of the things, it's funny you say that. Whenever we first started our business, we started our business in 2011 in San Jose, kind of living in Silicon Valley around all the tech startups, and it was like this. You never knew who you were going to meet, and it was kind of like, oh, that person over there like started an app in his garage and is now a multimillionaire. Like that was
Yeah,
much more common in that area than
I
it
bet.
was,
Yeah.
back where I'm from. But the interesting thing was just seeing how many people were available that you could just, like you said, go and talk to and work with and whatever.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that we ended up doing, we went to a kind of like a public speaking conference with some authors and stuff. And I've done event planning over the years, and I know how much of a pain in the butt it can be. And so, same kind of concept. I'm like, I wanted to be in this environment. There was authors there. I wanted to do more book covers and kind of get in that space.
Hmm.
And so I volunteered to help out with the event planner. And she ended up actually introducing me to someone who now has like a world renowned podcast, and We ended up connecting with somebody else who led to us working with Jack Canfield, who did Chicken Soup for the Soul.
No
Yeah,
way.
yeah. And so I don't know if you know Jim
Wow.
Quick. We did some work for him. He's the guy that has the podcast. He does a lot of celebrity memory training and stuff like that.
Awesome.
But same concept though. It was like we wanted to be there, and we had skills that we could bring to the table, and we're willing to
Mhm.
do that to get to a point where we were, learning the craft and learning that scene a bit. And so same
Yeah.
kind of thing. It doesn't matter what world you're in, you can apply those principles. So if you're in those spaces, guys, where you're trying to figure out where to go next, like look at who is doing what you're doing and see how
Yeah.
you can help them.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. If you start with a what can I do for you,
Right.
you're going to get a whole lot further than, can you help me?
Right. Rico said, he asked, how do I start being a freelance consultant to creative people? Do you have any thoughts on that? I have some,
Oh,
but if you have any thoughts.
my sound went out again for a quick second. I'm sorry. Can you read that
Oh, no,
again?
it's fine. Rico
Sorry.
said, how do I start being a freelance consultant to creative people? I
Oh,
have some
that's for
thoughts
you,
on that,
Ryan. That's
but
not for me.
okay, I was gonna defer to you if you had any thoughts.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I want to hear the answer too, actually.
Okay. So for us, Rico, one of the things that I've done over the years, my biggest suggestion for anyone who's doing any kind of creative content or whatever, I don't typically run ads and things like that to get the word out about my services. Most of the stuff that we do has been referral based, as well as content marketing. So when I say content marketing, you listening to me right now is me doing content marketing. The fact that I have my name and my logo and Mary's logo, well, I don't have your logo here, but I have her website.
Thank
Um,
you, by the
um,
way.
oh yeah, absolutely. Um, this is all content marketing, but putting actual authentic value into what we're doing. And I mean, it's very time consuming, but it's evergreen content. The nice thing about so much of this is I'll be able to strip the audio from this video and turn it into a podcast. I'll be able to take clips of this conversation up and, have like a whole bunch of different mini clips that I can upload to my YouTube channel, or I can take all these series of videos that I'm doing and build it into an online course that I sell. So try to think in that term whenever you're trying to build a creative business. It's like, what kind of value can I bring to the people who are already listening? Because that's where you're going to see those wins. If you're not familiar with Kevin Kelly's 1,000 True Fans concept, that has been kind of my mantra for growing creative businesses, where you basically look for people who are already listening and figure out what do they like and what do I like and how can I do more of that, and just keep doing more of that, and it starts growing organically. Also, make sure to have a business registered, have a place where people can pay you, like a website or something. There's a software called Book Like a Boss that I use to do appointment bookings, and you can actually charge people for appointments and that kind of stuff. So I will put a link to that here in the comments. Let's see, my keyboard's really loud, but this is a affiliate link, so you'll get a discount, and I'll actually get a bonus for that. So if you sign up, thank you. But that's an amazing software. You can get a landing page and things of that sort, where you can basically say, hi, I'm Rico, here's how I can help you. Click here, and you can plug it into your calendar and charge them right then and there. It gets deposited in your PayPal account or whatever, and you're off to the races. A lot of it just is get people results and get their testimonials, start building your website, do your branding, make sure that you're actually showing up as someone who looks like a professional and can get the word out about what you do for them, because that's why people are coming to you in the first place. So make sure that you have all that stuff shored up, and then just start doing content, and trust that it's going to take time. That's not rocket science, but it works over the long term. So anyway, so that's pretty much all that I had written down here, Mary. So I don't know. I know you had some talking points that you had also.
Well, can I ask you a question?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
What do you think is the most helpful thing for you in staying focused with your creative entrepreneuring business? What are your top tips?
So my top tips, I would say, read a lot of books that have been written by people who have done what you want to do or are doing what you want to do. And don't listen to people who tell you not to do things that they themselves haven't tried or are doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's kind of like if I needed to get like brain surgery, I'm not going to go talk to a golf expert. Like, but when it comes to starting your own business, doing your own creative careers and things like that, likely the advice that you will hear from people around you as you're trying to get started is you need to play it safe and you need to just do the 9 to 5 and just da da da. In my opinion, those days are over. I think they were over a long time ago.
Yeah.
But the best thing you can do is use the magic of the internet at your fingertips for something productive, and stop mindlessly scrolling on your news feed because there is no end to it. Like they designed it so there's no bottom. But
There used to be a bottom.
there
Remember
used to be a bottom. I remember when there was a bottom.
And then when it went away, I was like,
Back in
oh,
my
we're all
day.
in trouble. Yep. We're in trouble now.
There were no trending sections and there was a bottom to my news feed.
We only had a top 8 friends.
And whenever people picked up the phone, the internet would go out. You remember that?
I was a kid, but I did.
Yeah. And the computer would make these horrifying screeching sounds from the modem. You guys don't, if you don't know what we're talking about, you don't know. It was rough. But in terms of, some of the books that I would recommend definitely picking up that's been super, super helpful. Pretty much anything by Tim Ferriss, his Tools of Titans book and Tribe of Mentors, 4-Hour Work Week, 4-Hour Body.
Oh, that's why I know his name. Like, why do I know Tim Ferriss? Okay,
Yeah,
4-Hour.
And the 4-Hour Chef. So all of those books are treasure troves of practical information. Disclaimer, don't do anything stupid. Like if you're have medical conditions and all that stuff, this is not medical advice. The stuff in the book is not medical advice. But it's one of those things where you have to look at all the different resources that are available and figure out like, oh, how can I take things from this world? How can I take things from this skill set and kind of create your own daily routines and your own daily schedules? That for me, figuring out those schedules and like you said earlier, the figuring out the times that I'm most creative or whatever, I can usually go about 90 to 120 minutes or so before I start feeling like I need to get my phone out and start browsing or doing something different. And so taking regular breaks of at least like half an hour between those 90-minute spurts has been really, really helpful.
Awesome.
Because otherwise I'll just keep working and burn myself out, and that sucks. So don't do that. Sarah said, I'm just going to quit my job and tour Europe with Mary.
Okay.
That's fine.
I'd be down with that.
Yeah. And Tom said, hashtag nostalgia. So. Oh,
Tom, thank you for putting that link, by the way. You're such a love.
What did he do?
Sweet of you.
Oh, he put the Patreon thing. Yeah. So
you're the best. Thank you.
So guys, that's another thing I wanted to mention here. You can support Mary at her Patreon page. So that's at patreon.com/MaryB. I'm actually working on one myself to help
I'll support you.
help keep this show going and the things that we're doing. So that if you're seeing this now, if you're seeing it live, I don't think it's ready quite yet. But if you see this after the live broadcast, it should be live. So I'll put the link below, but it's just going to be patreon.com/reformdesigns. But Mary, talk a little bit about your experience with Patreon. I'm curious how that's gone.
It's really fun. I all I can say is I'm just so thankful. I'm blown away that such wonderful people are supporting me, like Tom and a lot of really wonderful people that I know. And I try to make content specifically for Patreon, but a lot of it too is that I really trust their opinions on things. So like, I was just recently trying to decide which one of my original songs to record like a nice studio recording of. And they helped me decide that. I put in some demos and, like they gave me their feedback. And so, like it matters to me that I want to make stuff that especially they like they're just, the most important people to me. And, so I actually like, they really truly are my producers. Like if you really think about it, they are. So that's why, you'll see in the credits of my videos and the web series, like they're credited as producers because that's honestly what they are. Like, and I make what I make, with them in mind. And, it's just awesome. Oh, I can't hear you.
Can you clarify for those watching and for myself because I don't know
Oh,
what actually the role of a producer is in that kind of context? Is it
um, well, producer can be, a lot of different things to a lot of people. Sometimes for people, it's like, like making beats for, a hip hop or R&B song, or someone who sits in the studio with you when you're recording your song and gives you feedback on vocals and stuff. But um, also, it can be financially backing a project. It can be giving feedback on what you'd like to see done in a certain project. So there are actually a lot of those things for me. They are financially backing a lot of what I do, which is just again, like I could not be like more thankful, and I just am like so honored that they care about what I'm doing that much. And then I turn to them for advice on things very often of, like, what do you think of this or that? And get ready because you're going to get a lot more questions soon as this web series goes. I'm going to be counting on you guys to point me in the right directions of what you want to see and, how you want to look.
That's really cool. So you started your Patreon, I think you mentioned about a year ago.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So if you guys, if you haven't heard of Patreon, definitely check it out and make sure to check out Mary's Patreon account so that you can support her on her journey. And we'll mention it again here at the end of the show as well. So other than that, you had mentioned, just one more quick tip that I have found with staying consistent with all this stuff. Two things really. Number one is setting up an environment that really fosters your creativity, making it really easy for you to get in the creative zone. So if you're a musician, I'm assuming you have very easy access to your music, and so you can
Yep.
just sit down and play, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
It has to all be set up because it's the hardest part. It's like going to the gym. It's the hardest part is putting on your sneakers. The hardest part is just setting up your equipment. So just have it all set up all the time.
right.
Ready to go.
And so even with me, like in here, I mean, I've shown you guys before, but like I've got a remote with my lighting because I'm in a green screen studio. I'm not really in a cartoon. Come on.
You're not?
I'm not. No, here, watch.
Oh my gosh.
Let me destroy the illusion here momentarily. So just like this. Oh my gosh, there goes the illusion. I'm actually in a green screen room. This is the control window, so I don't know if you guys can see part of this here.
It's a little frozen on my end, but
Okay.
oh, there you are.
There we go. So part of it is having this all set up, having my lighting so that I can literally just get ready and go.
Yeah.
It's taken me a really long time to figure out all the different moving parts and all the different things to be able to do all of this.
Yeah.
But now, even with this webcam, like I can click a button and I'm gone, just like that.
So cool.
That's pretty cool, right? And so there's all kinds of fun stuff you can do with it where like, these are just like little animated graphic files that I can click and move around. I mean, and you guys can't see me actually moving that around with my mouse, but the software I'm using is called Open Broadcaster software. It lets you do all kinds of cool stuff. And so so much of it is about the setup. So much of it
Yep.
is about that grind initially of figuring out what works for you and what doesn't. And so if you have some kind of creative inspiration, hang it up in your office. You know, hang that stuff up that inspires you to keep going in your creative area, and almost like create your own artist studio. Like no one's going to do it for you, and so set up your environment that makes it easy for you to do your thing. And
Yeah.
number two is surround yourself with people who champion you. Surround yourself with people who believe in you,
Yep.
and get away from the people who don't. Like it doesn't mean you have to be mean about it, but especially when you're incubating new creative ideas and trying to bring things to life, you have to be really careful whose advice you take. So
And like really positive people too. I I found that so important because like, some people just have brighter outlooks than others, and if I spend too much time with people who are complaining a lot, or just kind of down in the dumps, like, it can be contagious, so I think it's really important to be around the positive mentality as much as possible.
so can you give an example of a time that you didn't take that advice and wish you
Not
had?
on live.
Okay, so don't do it live, but suffice it to say that she's done that. We all have.
Yeah.
Rico said vision boards. Actually, Rico, yeah, I have. You can't see it because it's taped up right now.
Yeah.
But I have my vision board is actually in my closet where I have all my paperwork and stuff. So if you guys haven't done vision boards, you just like craft time, right? Get a bunch of magazines, some tape, some scissors, and cut out phrases that inspire you, pictures and stuff, and put that somewhere that you can see it. Like hang trophies up. Maybe you landed a big deal. Like we have one of the biggest client checks that we've ever received in our career so far. Like I have the pay stub on my vision board just as a
I love that.
reminder.
Good.
And I also have it. I've framed. I think it's like 5,000 Iraqi dinars because I had someone try to pay me for web design work with Iraqi dinars one time, telling
Cool.
me that the currency was going to revalue any day now, and that it was going to be not worth like $4, but it was going to make me rich. And I didn't value myself enough at that time to say no, I can't pay my rent with Iraqi dinars.
Yeah.
So learning to value yourself is another big key. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely have learned that over the last few years, actually. Just realizing that, like, I'm not good at a lot of things, but the things that I'm good at, I think I'm pretty good at, and just like, really being okay with accepting that, because if you don't believe in yourself, like, why should you expect anyone else to, you know, like, so just, yeah, just being okay with like believing in yourself. I think it's, important.
Absolutely. I mean, and it's hard. I mean, it's something, especially for creative types or whatever. It's like, people will come up to you all the time. It's like, oh, you're so good at this. Like, can you just, or can you do this and whatever. It's like
Yeah.
you have to figure out ways to set up boundaries so that you're taken care of and that you're
Yeah.
getting paid what you're worth and things of that sort. And especially whenever you decide to go pro with what you're doing, like what was it? I'm actually curious. What was it for you that kind of pushed you to that spot of, you know what? Yeah, I want to do this web series. I want to do this tour. What was there
For
like a
this
story behind it?
particular, for this one,
Yeah.
there was a few things. One of which, our mutual friend Malik, Houlihan, said to me in Ojai. I don't even know how it came up, but we were like, I was kind of bumming out. I think I got to his place in Ojai. It was like right after there was a shooting in, the Las Vegas shooting. So I was really, really shaken up. And I go to Vegas all the time. I love country music. Like, that one hit home a lot because I'm like, I'm always there. I love that stuff. And just, you know, there's a lot of scary stuff in the world, a lot, you know what I mean? And so I just, I was so excited to see him. I hadn't seen him in so long. I was like, hey, but I'm like kind of really like shaken up because this just happened, and so we had kind of a talk about it, and about just also realizing like the time is now, like you never know, anything could happen around the corner, anything, but also something he said, I don't even know how we got from point A to this point, but he said there's, if you were arguing with somebody, right, and you had to sing your argument, if I was like super mad at you for something, and I had to be like, Ryan, I can't believe you hit my car with your car. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it would just be like,
unless we were in a musical and I could be like, I'm so sorry, Mary. It's not gonna.
like, even then, work. It's like, can you even take musical arguments that seriously? Like, it's really hard. And so that, kind of got me thinking, like, I can't do much to like solve the problems of the world. Like, I'm, one chick, from Rehoboth, Massachusetts. My powers are pretty limited, but if I can do like one thing that's at least like adding some niceness to the world and bringing something that's like, a moment of peace. Like, it's hard, like, for me, what music is so, why music is so special is it doesn't matter like how terrible my day is. If I get into my car and then like one of my favorite songs is on, or I have one of my favorite records in the car, I'm like, I'm okay for like, 5 minutes or the 30 minutes of that record. It's a moment of peace, like getting away for a little bit. So between like, just hopefully creating those moments of peace, and then like, just really thinking about how powerful music is, of that, like, it really, really could stop an argument. If you're, arguing with your, cousin about politics or something, and then you had to sing your arguments, you both would just end up cracking up. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, it's true. I mean, can you imagine? Can you imagine if like there was some law that was passed? It's like, okay, from now on, all political debates, all the candidates have to sing
got to be
positions.
In song.
And you have to actually respond to what the other person said.
Yeah, it'd be the battle rap of a century.
It would. It'd be awesome. That is interesting that you brought that up about what he said, because I remember hearing him say something similar in another call at one point, and realizing that it's not just music, it's art in general. It's there's, you don't see people going to the some of the famous museums and then like carving "this sucks" underneath it and like leaving crappy comments or something. And I think that it really boils down to what are you going to do with the abilities that we have. It's like, okay, we can bring life or we can destroy it. We can encourage people or we can tear them down. Like, we can do both. Which do you want to do? And how do you want to do that? Because you can use your art for good, you can use it to tear people down. And I think it's super awesome, just even what you said before at the beginning of the call, how you're wanting to build your business in a way where you're working with people who are good people and who are having fun and wanting to help leave the world a little bit better than we found it. So thank you for that.
So. Thank you. Totally.
Okay. Well, I think that's pretty much all that I've got here. So unless there's anything specifically you wanna talk about, or if you guys who are still watching have any additional questions, feel free to let us know. But yeah. Was there anything, any other talking points that you had that you wanted to bring?
I think so. I like wrote down the things. I was like, oh, what do I want to talk about? No, I think that's it. Besides that, I think I just also want to mention, I don't think it's like open right now to submit for, but I just want to give a shout out to the Creators Portal, and Malik and Katie really brought us together, and really made such a huge impact on my career this last year, and literally in just an encouragement.
Absolutely.
What we do, we get together a few times a week on these mastermind groups where we jump in online meetings, and there's like 7 or 8 of us in one, and we all kind of talk about what we're doing. give each other ideas, support each other. If I'm about to go into like a meeting I'm nervous about or something, everyone kind of helps pump me up. Or, if somebody comes in and they have questions about their career, we give them, our thoughts. And it matters so much to have a great community. And I'm just like super crazy thankful for it. And so glad that I met you that way.
Yeah, this wouldn't even be happening
fun.
if Sarah is the one who told me about it. So she's still watching. So there's now two people who are asking you to play something.
Even in my guitar here.
I don't know if she has a guitar.
No, but if you want to hear me play, I think Sarah put the link in the chat. I'll put it in later for this show, and I sing in that. And yeah, I go live a good amount too. So feel free to friend request me. Maybe just shoot me a message saying, that this is how we met, so that I know to differentiate you.
Yeah, where you came from.
And yeah, I go live a lot and do songs. So thanks for asking.
Absolutely. Okay, guys. Well, that's about all that we have for today. So there's a few things that I'd love to still talk to you about to kind of give you a heads up on where we're headed, what we're up to. But Mary, before I do that, why don't you go ahead and let people know like where they can find you, any calls to action that you would love to, how you'd like to connect with people, and
Sure.
basically tell your loyal fans what you would love for them to do.
That's so funny. No, not fans, friends. So if we're not already friends and you want to be, please friend me. I like meeting nice new people, and if you're a friend of mine, you're a friend of mine. So shoot me a friend request, maybe a message so I know who you are. And this is my website here, and then further down is my Patreon. So if you like the show I'm working on and you want to see more of it, and you want to, higher quality of it, there's Patreon if you want to support it.
Sarah posted your Facebook page there, and I believe that the hashtag that you're using for your series is Finding Harmony, correct?
Finding Harmony, yep.
So hashtag Finding Harmony. You can find Mary at that also.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me on. This is like so fun.
I'm super excited. Like the last one that I did, it's fun because every show that we do, I'm like, oh, I could add something else, or there's all these different ideas that kind of go through your head whenever you're building these kind of things. And
totally,
I mean, it doesn't matter if it's kind of like, okay, maybe I can make it look like I just flick this guy here, watch, ping. That's fun. So it's, come on back, there we go. I'm just using my mouse here, guys. But the last one that I did for Branding 101, I was like kind of whipped it up really quick, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And it kind of looks like I'm sitting in a almost like an open Chinese food box. So I was like, oh, maybe I'll do a desk for this one and see how it goes. And so we're probably going to change this background and just keep developing it, because so much of the creative process is like that, where you're like, you get started and then you start adding on and you start adding on.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've seen that with your music too, just the layering stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, guys, well, that's about all that I have. A couple of things. You can actually go to my website here, reformdesigns.biz, and we just revamped it recently, so I'd love to hear your feedback. We just changed the homepage, as well as if you go to the section where we talk about branding and logos. We literally just, when I started this call, I'll pull it up here for you guys so you can see. This is not going to look as pretty on the screen as I would like it to, because I'll have to cover Mary up here, and there's other things on top of it. So anyway, this is not exactly how I wanted this to go, but we recently just created some different brand builder packages, and you can go to logos.reformdesigns.biz to find out more about that and how we can help you go pro with your creative career. We can do your logo for you and get you some clothing, get you some mugs. And Mary, actually, I wanted to mention, as a thank you for coming on the show here, would you use like a music tote, like a tote bag, like a fabric bag?
Ooh, I always use totes.
Okay, so I have one that has this design on it. It
Oh my
says,
God, I love
so
that.
it says music is life. So this is actually like really bright green, but because I'm using a green screen, guys, you can't tell.
Yeah.
But we have this one, and I also have another one that has a treble clef on it that I'll show you. So you can pick whichever one you
Aw,
want, and I'll mail it out to you.
thank you.
Um,
It's really sweet of
yeah, yeah,
you. Oh,
absolutely.
I didn't know I was getting a present. I didn't bring anything for you.
No, it's all good. Your presence is perfect. Um, so you guys, if you're interested in figuring out, how to bring your own ideas to life, that's pretty much what we specialize in. So hit us up at reformdesigns.biz. You can book a free consultation. It's connected to my calendar, so you can literally just go on there, see what some open times, and we'll talk about how to make your ideas happen. The other thing, like I mentioned earlier, you can check out our Patreon that it's probably not live right yet, but it will be for those of you who see the playback of this video. So that's at patreon.com/reformdesigns. We'd love to do more of these interviews. We'd love to do more content like this. And you guys are the ones who can help make that happen. And like with Mary, you can help basically be our show producers, and it'll be a fun thing. Additionally, I will be resuming soon my readings from my forthcoming book, which is called The Science of Getting Rich. It is a republishing of a 1910 classic by a guy named Wallace Wattles, which, if you look at him there, he's a looker. He's a cool dude down here. So this is very similar for those who are familiar with Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich. This was actually published initially before that. And so a lot of similar mindsets, a lot of similar principles in it on how to take your creative ideas and make things happen and create wealth for yourself and your friends and family with that, instead of going and trying to just compete for it. So I've been doing readings in a fireside chat setting, which looked sometimes like this. We'll see here. Kind of like that. So we've been doing those. Those have been fun. So stay tuned for more of those as well. Also, one more thing, sign up for our VIPs list. The link is down in the corner there, and you'll get a free copy of the first book that I wrote called Stop Wasting Time and Burning Money, How to Crush Procrastination and Live the Life of Your Dreams. So that's pretty much all I've got for today. If you guys don't have any additional questions, then we're going to be wrapping up here. So thanks so much for tuning in. Jenna actually is still watching. She said this was so wonderful. I enjoyed listening. I'm going to be doing a video with her most likely next week, Branding 103. And like I mentioned before, she's the one who has her own jewelry company. So Jenna, if you're still watching, definitely drop a link in the comments here so people can check you out and get connected with you and all of that stuff. So that's about all we've got time for today, folks. Thanks so much, Mary. Thank you, as always. This was a great pleasure, and I look forward to hearing more about your series. So we'll have to set up another time after you've been doing it for a little while, and we can do this again. So.
Maybe I'll do one from Europe.
Yeah, that'd be great. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Are you actually going to be doing like live sets with artists that you've not actually played with before, or?
Oh yeah, I've never played with any of these.
So you're just kind of connecting with them over the internet and seeing what happens? That's awesome. Very cool. Okay, guys. Well, thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Ryan Rhodes with Reformation Designs. This is Mary B. And you should check out her website at marybeofficial.com. Support her on Patreon and do all the things that we just talked about. And that'll be awesome because we'll continue building great and fun things together. So until next time, everybody. Cheers.